And the more serious thing, if their door's locked, I'll go to the apartment complex and tell them to give me a key. Or I'll have Clinton bash it down.
That sounds 100% legal.
That's, I mean, we pay for the apartment. Yeah, it's fine.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Q Up, Team MV's official podcast. If this is your first time joining us, we take you inside the world of esports and gaming, the people who know best.
And we post new episodes every Monday on the audio versions on podcast platforms and the video version on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TeamEnvy.
We got some special. That was like 5 specials. Guest today, Matt Taylor, GM of the Dallas Fuel.
Hello.
Better known as TazMo. And head coach. Head coach is in the building. Mr. Aero Atkins. Did I say that right? Aero Atkins. How are you guys? How was the flight?
Short, but early.
It was early, but good.
Yeah.
Sleepy boys.
Very
See it in your eyes.
Slept all the way through it.
You guys are matching. Our listeners can't hear, but you guys got on like the same polo right now. It's good.
Yeah, it's we planned this.
This is actually the designated assistant coach polo.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is the home version. And this is the,
Okay. It's like
wearing the
official
away
travel
version.
gear
Yeah.
of the Dallas
all
Fuel.
the assistant coaches wear these.
Got it. You've been
feel
demoted to assistant coach. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm giving some
Somehow I'm a
love
coach
to
now,
my
I don't know.
boys.
Yeah, well. Yeah, we just wanted to wear it because we have them, but we never wear them.
We never get to wear these. So.
It's true.
We're always wearing suits
Always
for some
so
reason.
fancy,
I don't know
gentlemen.
why.
I know
Feels
we're
good,
stuck
man.
wearing suits, I guess.
Going golfing. You guys going golfing after this?
Tennis, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I want to ask a question about your suits. How many suits did you buy just to get ready for like this season?
None.
None?
Actually, I
geared
got
up?
my
None suits.
none suits. No suits, actually. Yeah. I got a few last season, and then I got another one for like a wedding kind of thing. That's pretty much it, but I kind of used that as well. I don't know. We need to go suit shopping.
I bought one for the season, and then I also have one more that I'm working on.
Yeah.
In the process.
We got to get this guy a suit deal. I was talking to him when I was out there in LA. I was like, there's no reason he shouldn't have like his own suit line.
Yes.
Like
I completely
pinstripe,
agree.
Well, that's the thing.
Mafia Boss, level 100.
He could be
that guy?
pinstripe, but I think I have to do like the checkered suit next time.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's like tartan and
background?
plaid and
little
Scottish and
Yeah.
A little hokey.
You're-
Is that a Scottish thing?
Oh, you just call his culture hokey? Is that what you just said?
A little bit. It's a little.
That's not very
a little
nice.
hokey-ish.
That's it just started, and you're already insulting me.
Where's the hokey pokey come from? Is it?
I
It's
don't
got to be
know.
Scotland.
It's
Probably.
probably Scotland. Let's just say it's Scotland.
Confirmed.
And nothing really exciting happens there, so.
Oh man, guys, I want to get into some Overwatch, but before we do that, speaking of heritage, I get blown up all day by people in the DMs like, "Oh my god, TazMo's voice is so sexy. Where is he from?"
Can we eye roll harder? Hold on.
Roll the eyes. Look at my eyes. Roll them. No. Tell our listeners and viewers like a little bit about like background, like where you guys come from, heritage,
Yep.
those kind of things.
Well, as you just said, I'm from Scotland.
Scotland.
Yes, I know. I put it really thick right now, just for you. No, I'm born and raised in Scotland. I lived there until I was 13. Moved to Texas, of all places.
Oh, but where in Texas?
We don't. Houston. It wasn't my choice. It was my father, and he got me, my green card there and everything. So I'm not complaining. But no, I lived there, went to college out there, and then I moved to North Carolina, joining up with Envy. That was like 7 years ago at this point. It's like 6-7 years with Envy now. So, and then.
But you didn't start in Overwatch.
No, I started in Call of Duty with the old school COD guys. My first ever event was actually MLG Dallas in 2012.
No way.
Yeah, 2012, Black Ops 2. So I've been around. So that was the first experience for esports for me. And I loved it ever since, and told Mike I wanted to be involved. And
I mean,
after
you had a pretty good accomplishment with the team while you're on them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I started off just doing whatever I could for them, and then once I started becoming their team manager, like officially, we went to a lot of events, won a few of them, including Call of Duty championships. I'm just kind of out there. There's a little poster of me. I'm
A
proud of myself.
trophy.
I still
over
have
there.
that check, by the way. I still have the. You've seen it.
The fake, like,
It is
Oh,
not.
the
It's
huge check,
the real
like-
one.
I mean,
though.
the Happy
Like,
Gilmore.
it's not a.
Yeah.
I would have
legal
cashed
tender.
it.
You
No, I
can't-
cashed it.
You cannot. Shut up.
No. No, it's nice though. I think
Just
Mike
have to go to a really big bank.
I don't think Hairston knows I have it still, so he probably
Oh, he doesn't know?
thinks
Well, now he
it's
does.
not there.
He's not listening.
To be fair, good story about that. He said that he was going to take it, and he didn't end up taking it because he didn't want to take it that big thing on the plane.
Yeah,
So I
how's
just
he
held
going
on
to get
to
it home? Yeah.
I got it home.
How did you get it home?
Took it on the plane.
You took it on the
You
plane?
took
I
that
took-
on the plane?
Yeah.
Did you like ask them to hold it, or where did they put it? Where did they put a check that big?
In the cabin.
Somebody's dog didn't get to go on the flight.
captain's
because you had
cabin.
to take this big
Really?
check.
It's literally like 6
It's
feet
huge.
long
It's
or
Big.
something.
Well,
right?
even the another one where I had to take was the Apex trophy. And that thing is heavy. I don't know if you lifted it. It's about 40 pounds or something. It's no joke because we didn't want to ship that. It would have broken.
So did you just like buy a seat next? Oh, he's grabbing the trophy
grabbing
right now.
It's heavy.
Showing
Yeah,
it
that
off.
thing's got some,
And it used to light up.
some girth.
Overwatch
Actually, it used to light up on the bottom.
I don't know if you can get this in the shot.
Yeah. That I took that with me through Korea. Like,
Did you have to buy a ticket for it and like
no.
buckle it
But
in?
I carried it with me, actually. And when I carried it, everybody was looking at me like I was weird because I'm carrying this massive trophy through security. And people were taking photos. And I brought it on the plane. And luckily, the flight attendants put it in like the captain's quarters, like little cabin. So it was nice. But if I didn't do that, if that got shipped, we saw a couple of these other trophies that got shipped and they kind of got damaged. So I took one from their team and brought it home.
Interesting factoid about you, Taz, that a Discord member brought to my attention is you may be the world's first manager of 2 franchise esports leagues, like in the history of gaming. Yeah? Is there anybody else?
I'm sure there has to be, but I mean, is it at the same time? You mean like because I was
Because you were doing double duty
Yeah.
for when you first started.
yeah.
out.
When
Well,
I
that's
was still doing
probably
Call of
for
Duty.
sure, yeah.
I mean, there is definitely team managers. Like, there's definitely some GMs. Like, I know there's a guy Daemon from Cloud9. I think I don't
Okay.
know if he's still with Cloud9, I believe. But I think he's mainly focused on League of Legends now. But he was doing like a bunch of different teams as well. But I mean, it's hard. Like whenever I was doing Call of Duty and Overwatch, it was a lot of work, a lot of travel, because back then we weren't based in LA. We were traveling around doing events like MLG Vegas, stuff like that. We went to MLG Vegas and both Call of Duty and Overwatch were playing at the same time. That was,
In the same weekend?
yeah.
Wow.
So I was running back and forth. It was interesting. So, yeah. It's
Ridiculous.
That's pretty much it. I've been just grinding, being a Taz mom.
TazMo.
Yeah.
To all our baby boys.
Aww.
Yeah.
Aaron, tell us about yourself, man.
All right. My name is Aaron Atkins. I am from the U.S. Military kid. So I moved all over the place. Was born in Colorado. Lived in England for 4 years. Lived in Alaska for 4 years. Pennsylvania for 3. Arizona for 3. Alabama for 3.
Been all over the map.
And
man.
all over the U.S. So
What was your favorite place? Just curious. You said Alaska and England, and yeah, that's not
it's
a
really
lot
hard to
of,
say.
It's not all the places you hear. Usually.
Probably favorite place would probably be Alaska. That kind of became home. That's where the family ended up settling.
Let's be real. They give you money to live there, right?
Yes,
you
they
get
do.
They cut you a check. Is it monthly or is it
No,
yearly?
it's a year. It's
Annual check, and how much are you getting?
annual check. Well, back in the day, it was about $2,000.
$2,000.
It's been cut a little bit, but it's because
for the year or from
Yeah, it has to do with like oil drilling. So like if you don't drill oil in like your own property, then they give you money.
Yeah, because you know
they want
everybody's
to-
doing that.
someone else was
There you go.
oil. That's why.
Fun fact about Alaska. There you go.
2 G's just to live in Alaska, man. And you're not. It's not like you're buying like Ferraris or anything like that. It's like, what did people spend the money on?
Who knows? I don't even know.
Does Amazon deliver there?
What are you doing in Alaska?
Well, you can get Prime, and they're like, yeah, Prime, but it doesn't really.
You can't get it in 2 hours.
It's not very
You have to, you have to
There's no
send
Amazon
that stuff
now.
on freighter. Yeah, everything costs more. So.
Amazon, nope. It's not
man.
showing up ever.
Yeah, but I graduated high school when I was 16, and that was when I was in Arizona, and then started traveling with a public speaker and directed his internship program, which is kind of where I got started with working with people and mentorship and kind of coaching stuff. I grew up playing games my whole life. First competitive game was Halo on PC, and then ended up doing some like competitive World of Warcraft stuff,
Okay.
and then
All
got
right.
into
Nice speaking my language.
yeah. And
What
then
were you doing in that scene?
well, I was a
Raid master.
I was
You're a guild master? Yes, guild masters unite.
in one of the top guilds.
Did you roleplay?
No,
You're like,
no,
I
no,
am the guild master.
No.
What was your name? What was your
would've.
characters? I don't need to know like anything else but like class maybe,
Okay,
race, and character name.
Monk.
So there's you usually have like you have your main, but you also raid and like an alt raid as well. Like
Sure.
So like my main was a human warlock named Aero Lock.
Arrow lock?
There you
Original.
go.
Human warlock would not have pegged that.
Yep, human warlock, and then ended up eventually going to shaman, enhancement shaman, so like melee DPS kind of thing. But when I was done traveling, I ended up getting really into Dota 2. And that's where I got really into esports.
Okay.
Was with Dota 2 because it was right when the International 2 was coming out. And it was starting to gain traction and that kind of stuff. And then when Overwatch was first announced, I actually was working at Geek Squad at the time. I was just fixing computers while going to school.
Wow.
And saw Overwatch was announced, and I was like, hey, I was going to try it to like see if I could be a player in it. Originally, I kind of wanted to be a caster, but like traveling with a public speaker is more about like speaking and not like speaking fast, and like so it's just different dynamics. So I felt like I couldn't really do the casting thing, and so I ended up trying really hard to be a player for a few months, but with my job, I just couldn't. And then it kind of clicked. Like I have this background with working with people and coaching, and I grew up playing sports my whole life and everything. Like my dad in the Army was always involved in basketball coaching. He used to go and watch his games, and a bunch of my stepbrothers all played basketball. Even one of them played professionally in overseas.
Okay.
And so like big sports and background just made sense for me to go to coaching.
Yeah.
And so I started coaching in Overwatch with unpaid. There was one of the bigger endemic orgs. I said, like, I don't want to be paid. Just let me put your name on my resume. And I paid for my own flights to go to their events.
Yep.
And
That's what you have to do.
Hustling.
That's what we like. That was the same with me with like management stuff with Envy. Like the MLG Dallas, I wasn't paid out that, and the next whole year I was paying my own flights and hotels to go to these different events. Because you have to kind of put your name out there, network, and show your passion for the
especially
sport.
for scenes that aren't necessarily like fully established yet.
Yeah,
like
and it wasn't back then.
At the time, Overwatch was kind of the Wild West. So it was like everyone knew that like Overwatch League might be a thing in the future, but it wasn't anywhere like near being a thing.
It's a really good strategy. So to all the people in my DM saying, "Hey, is Envy interested in picking up a PUBG mobile team?" And like maybe you go this route. Maybe you just do it yourself and say, "Hey, we're paying for the tickets. We already got our registration handled. Can we just represent you?" That might be a better way. It may still be a no, but it sounds better than
Well, when I hired Jay, I was just like, "Hey, can you come work for free?" And
and I thought about it. I thought real hard. And then I said
he still
no.
hasn't been paid yet.
I'm working off of Oreos. Seven Oreos a day is what I am allotted.
An ultimate cheeseburger.
And I took those.
It's not bad.
Ultimate cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Jack
No bun,
Boss.
though.
No bun. The Cheeto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you always Cheeto?
I had bacon for lunch today.
Yeah,
I'll
but
have you know.
every time you come out with us, it doesn't seem the same.
Well,
It's
you
like,
guys eat like monsters. Like, it's-
hey,
and this dude's the worst. Like we do Uber Eats. He does Uber Eats on another level. We've talked about this. Like I eat Uber Eats like probably 4 out of 5 days a week. This dude goes hard, and he'll be like, "Oh, I'll order for everyone, and we'll just get paid back." He'll order 2 pizzas, and then be like, "Yo, that'll be $30 from everyone." And we're like, "What? Where's this math come from? You're our general manager? What is this? What is this?"
no, I know. It was
He's like
mad.
delivery fees, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and I had to order it, so I get a little kickback.
A finder's fee.
Yeah. It's effort.
Wow.
Okay.
Nickel and diamond.
Uber Eats is actually paying him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole time. Didn't
I
know.
get it. I get it now.
You
So
know
a
my
lot of our
plans.
fans, they're interested to know like what your guys' roles are beyond the titles. So they know head coach. So obviously that means looking over the players, general manager over the business. But what does like a day in the life look like for you guys?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. But like I guess both of us kind of work together every day. Like we always talk to each other. We both are very connected to the team, with the players, with with Mike and the people back here in Dallas. So for me, I personally, I wake up. That's a good start. You wake up and you get to work.
But
Show up
most
to work.
importantly, what time are you waking up?
For ours, our daily schedule.
Be honest, Matt.
Excuse me.
What?
I'm always up.
Gamers run on a different clock.
We
know
do.
this.
No,
everybody knows
we really
this.
do, and it's weird because people normally have your 9 to 5s, and you wake up and you're done after 5, right? But for us,
Ours is way shifted.
it's we're waking up maybe around 10, depending. If I have like a meeting with you guys, I have to wake up nice and early each week. But
Yeah, we have a 10 o'clock meeting every Tuesday that he calls in for, which is 8 a.m.
yeah.
California time.
The problem is with that is we normally like meet up around 11 a.m. at the offices in LA. So that's a weird 3-hour thing where it's like I can't really go back to sleep, so I'm just kind of like stuck, which sucks. But no, we normally traditionally show up at the office around 10:30, 11. and we, start practice regimen, all that stuff. And it goes on for like 8 hours and we're done around 7. But then even after that, it's stuff can happen. OG may need more cereal or something. I don't know. Like, he'll let me know. And
He's going to need more cereal.
But things happen, right? It's not like, sometimes I am very envious of the fact that that some people, having a 9 to 5 is actually nice because once you're done, you're done. Like with us, it's
always shifting, always moving.
Yeah,
especially weekends too. Every weekend.
We have so the worst part is sometimes for us is we have our last game on Sunday. So we have our game on Sunday. So our day off is the day after our last match of that week, right? So if that's the Monday, everybody else is back to work and that's meant to be my day off. So I get spam with emails and stuff I have to do. I'm like, well, this is my day off either, So, but the players always like to joke with me. It's like all I do is answer phone calls and do emails. But I mean, that is part of it. Yeah. But to be fair, it's more like working with Aero, working with pretty much day-to-day stuff, right? And having Clint, our other team manager with us, he helps me with a lot of that stuff as well. So
yeah.
I see a lot of the stuff you do, and it's kind of like accommodating the players and making sure that they only have to focus on the game.
Strictly the game,
so
that's the goal.
Really taking care of everything else.
It's hard because like some of these guys, well, most of them honestly have never lived in America. Have never lived on their own. They have no idea about like utility bills and just, all they know is ordering from Postmates and
I helped Mickey apply for his license.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mickey's one of those guys who actually has taken it to the next level of doing stuff. Like he wants to go, he has a car, he drives and stuff. So, but some of these other guys are completely fine with just hanging out in their apartments,
chill
right?
in their apartment, play games.
Yeah, and that's all they do.
Yep.
I mean, that's what they want to do, and that's fine. We're not going to force them to do that, but it's hard because some of these guys have no idea, like the outside of the real world. Sometimes it's
so many mixed cultures. It's really an interesting dynamic because some teams will do like a team house environment where everyone's like always together, but we opted for the apartment thing just for kind of more goal to be more healthier and like the work life separation. Try to give that to some of these guys, and so you have these kids that come straight out of high school into playing games.
It's their first ever job,
and they've never had a job before. So
I think the fans would be curious to know who all lives in. Some of them live together. It's our roommates, right? So who's all roommates right now?
So the ones that are, we'll start with the solo ones. So the ones that are on their own are Unko and ACAM. They're on their own. Taimu's on his own. Zach's on his own. And then
a lot of them are. Honestly, I think
Closer and OG.
Harry's on his own.
Yeah. Closer and OG are together. Mickey and Note are together.
Yeah.
And
that's the only two that I think are together.
Really? Actually, yeah.
Did we miss a player? I mean, in fact, when he was here, he had his own place. Basically, give them the choice of between the two because players want their own privacy sometimes, but also sometimes players want to have that companionship outside the game and whatnot. But I mean,
you too.
Yeah, I mean,
you and Clint setting up here.
It's surprising that Unko and AKM didn't want to.
Yeah, I think even though they're always inseparable, it seems I think sometimes they get sick of each other.
I think that's mostly Unko. Unko's actually like a clean freak.
Yes,
he is one of the cleanest people I've ever seen.
They're both pretty clean though. I feel like
they're both clean,
but Unko's like
another level.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, but it's funny, a funny dynamic. Unko and AKM, they copy each other in pretty much whatever they do. They have matching Louis Vuitton bags. They have basically whatever AKM wants to do. Unko was like, yeah, just do the same as he's doing. Like even the same food, the same. It's weird. They're really like brothers. Like,
they're taking over because now you have Daemon.
You have another friend.
So
Vive la France.
Now we got to get a third Gucci bag.
Yeah.
Louis.
He already has a Gucci belt that he wears everywhere.
Yeah, they're very fashionistas over there. It's
fancy.
Yeah.
All fancy.
I'd say from the coaching side though, it's a little different because a lot more focus on the game rather than like taking care of the players' needs. So generally for coaching, for head coach specifically, we usually try to meet up around 11:30, do like a staff meeting, kind of get prepped for the day, and then it'll be an hour of review, and usually that review will be something like plans for the day, or we're going over strategies, or if there's something specific we're trying to tweak for a specific opponent, we'll go over that kind of stuff we're doing. And then it'll be scrims for 2 hours. We'll take a little break, gives the players some time off to eat, chill, whatever. Then another 2 hour block, and then another VOD review session after, kind of usually recapping the day or like tweaks we want to make from what happened in the day. But it doesn't really stop there. We'll do like another staff meeting, and then with so much data flow about other teams or like whatever. Whenever we get a little piece of information, it's all about like we need to go in and dive in and figure out what that is. So whether it's like someone found something about how you can interact with a new hero or something, like we need to research it and go in and plan it out and have it all ready. So, like work hours don't really exist for coaches either. Cause it's, we set it up to where we have quite a large coaching staff right now. So we have coach focused on the tanks, supports, and then, one focused on DPS. And then we also have one more focused on like the strategy. And then I kind of oversee and do everything.
Delegate all the stuff to them.
And kind of work with it, kind of try to keep it structured. So, there's so much data flow, so much a lot of tweaking. We try to have plans for every map and substitute plans for every map and cheat strategies for every map, and how can we exploit this team's weakness and like what are our weaknesses right now. And so it's constant VOD review, constantly going in and updating our notes and trying to keep everything, all the data.
And you run a tight ship. I've seen it. It's practice, and then it's pause, and then it's shoveling food. These guys going over and like shoveling this food, and then straight back to it. Then when you shut it down like 7 or 8 o'clock, a lot of these guys just want to go stream. They're like, hey, make sure you're getting a good night's rest. Like, don't stay up all night streaming. Whether they do or not, I don't know. You'd have to go check them out on twitch.tv. / our players' names.
I mean, regarding the streaming stuff, especially, I think for them specifically, I think it's like a social thing for them for sure. Like they like interacting with their fans, right? And they like still playing the game, so they'll play, and that's their kind of way to relax a lot of times, so they can still play. But we always stress to the guys, like we have a really good facility and a really good apartment complex where they can hang out. And recently we've started to use the jacuzzi a bit more and hang out a bit. I mean,
I've seen the Instagrams.
Yeah. We definitely, it's a lot of fun. We want to instill the fact that, it's a busy schedule, but trying to not, like Burnout is a huge thing, like last season specifically, with the amount of games that was last season. But you can see even in some of these teams now, like in other Overwatch League teams right now, that clearly there's burnout and stuff happening. And that's not just for the players, it's for the staff. Like all of us need to be on the same page and understanding that we can talk to each other when something is a problem.
And there's a lot to that. I mean, with esports, like one of the biggest differences between esports and traditional sports is that with esports, the game is constantly changing. You'll have a major update and the game is completely different. And that means that players have to go in and relearn it, which means we're putting more hours in. And so it's very easy, very, very easy to get overwhelmed because everything you've been working on the past 2 months, you've been grinding, what ends up being like 10-hour days suddenly is out the window and you have to do it all again. And that keeps the game interesting and fresh sometimes, but it can also be really overwhelming. And so, part of the way we structured it, like the way we did, is so that we can try to prevent that and try to focus on like players having long careers and not just like, burn really hot for a year and then just kind of burn out. So, trying to focus on longevity. So
you guys mentioned scrims, and that's a lot of the time is spent in scrims. For people that might not know what that kind of format looks like, could you describe kind of the daily scrim schedule and how you arrange those matches?
Sure. For us, we have a couple different types of scrims. Either we'll scrim Overwatch League teams or our Contenders team. So to start with the Overwatch League side, generally it's a team we're not playing anytime soon. We'll both kind of agree on a map pool of like, these are the maps we're playing. Okay, this map we're playing. We'll meet in the middle, and then everyone and pick your maps. So usually we'll get in about 5 to 6 maps for every 2-hour block, and you play your maps, you do your strategy, and if you don't cap the map, you reset it, and the whole other team gets a whole chance at the whole map. So it's not like a match style. It's focused on practice, and so you go through all your maps, and then you move on to your next block. So with having a Contenders team, with having Team Envy. Being such a good Contenders team, we get to utilize them a little differently because I can kind of force them to do drills, and sometimes we want to play King's Row first point 8 times,
and match warm-ups, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They warm us up for every match. They're really great about it, and their overall skill level. I mean, right now they're undefeated in Contenders. They're a very, very good.
Shout out to our Envy boys, man.
Yeah, huge.
Hopefully, we'll get to see them this week as well.
Yeah, and it's not easy to warm us up because we ask them to play different styles. Like we try to get them to mirror what our opponents are going to play.
Okay,
and so they don't know. They're not always playing their style. They're they're playing other styles all the time. Yeah, and I'm asking a lot of them, so it's really cool. And they're definitely like a very strong team. I think if they were in Overwatch League, they could definitely be in the top 15.
Yeah,
they're definitely a strong team. It's really cool to be able to utilize them like that because it makes it a lot easier for us to practice very specific things. In that's the only downside to Overwatch League scrims is that if there's something very specific you want to practice, you just kind of have to hope that the stars align and you can practice.
Yeah, different styles from every team, and the fact that we can create the style under Envy is great for them.
And are they providing feedback to you guys on hey, this is how we were able to take advantage in these situations and watch out for this?
I mean, Aero talks to Chu all the time to work on those sort of things, and they're in constant talks. And I think it really has benefited us, of course, but also them in their contenders thing. Like they're getting these new styles that maybe they've never thought of, like strategy that they never thought about, and it's showing in their matches, right? They're doing really well, and they have a chance to win the whole thing. And they put in the hours just like we do, and we're really thankful to have them. And they're such a strong team, and not many teams have that. So
that's really cool. A lot of times, Chu will ask me like, "Hey, like what's the idea behind this comp? Like, why are teams running it?" So I'll explain to them like, "Okay, that's interesting. Like, maybe it's something we can implement." And so I think it does benefit them a lot, as well as benefits us. So it's a really cool dynamic.
What kind of overall coaching style would you say you have? Some coaches are very authoritative and, bulldogs, and then others like to be kind of best friends with their players. Like, where would you say you fall in the line?
I try to adapt all the time, just kind of based on where the environment is. So there's some times where I have to
be very stern.
I have to
put your foot down.
I have to, it's like
Mafia Aero.
Have you ever choked a player out?
I have never.
That's my job.
I was hoping.
He doesn't get his hands dirty.
This is college basketball.
That's Clint's job.
He just has this look. He has this like mafioso mob boss look where he just gives him the nod. Like
that's because he knows he's gonna sleeping
with the sharks. Yeah, in Alaska.
When Aero gets serious, he's serious because he's overall a pretty easygoing guy that works with the players, and I think the players appreciate the fact that he's there to listen and work with the players. He's not going to just be like, "No, you're wrong. We're doing it my way," sort of thing.
My general philosophy, because the game is constantly changing, is I want feedback from the players all the time. I want them to give their opinions. I want them to discuss it. I want them to talk about it, because it's not the same game that's been perfected, and then you're just working on optimizations. It's fundamentally changing. And since the coaches aren't the ones like actively playing in these, high level scrims all the time, we're watching. Sometimes there's just some feeling that you can't always get from watching. And so I try to, bring up lots of discussion with the players, just to talk about, if something feels good or doesn't feel, feels bad or whatever, to kind of get their ideas and thoughts so that we can make the best optimizations. So it's kind of unique, but it's definitely a little bit of both, of where sometimes it's like, all right, this is the way. It's my way. We're doing this now. Yeah. But that's pretty rare. We don't have to do it that often. Our guys are pretty good about that.
Yeah. And our guys have a lot of experience. Like, a lot of our players have been there since the get-go. Like someone like AKM or Unco, those guys have been champions before. They've competed forever. And you have people that all have their own opinions.
Term forever in esports is like 2 years.
Well, forever in the case of Overwatch. Like, since then, but it's crazy.
Funny that you can say that.
It's true, but it's getting to the point where there is history now and there is background from all these players. I mean, obviously, it's like the Envy Rogue days back in the day, and now we've kind of joined forces with the enemy and stuff, which is interesting.
They're taking over.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your newest addition to the coaching staff, Daemon, and what he's brought to the team.
Yeah, Daemon has a really great mind. I think that's one of the biggest things. He's been in the scene for a while as well. Frenchie, but one of the important, he used to be on, he worked with Valiant for a little while, and he worked with Paris for a little while, and Team France. I think one of the biggest things is that he's very, very strategy oriented. He can fill, kind of wherever I put him. And so originally he came in, main focus on working with the tanks, because that's the kind of the hole that was left with Coco retiring. But we ended up shifting it around because the way that he kind of lays out his thoughts and opinions on strategy, I felt like was very valuable. And so I kind of wanted to push him to that role, because it kind of feels like that's where his strengths lie. And so he's very good about incorporating like his strategy and optimizing it. And it's a really interesting dynamic. He actually fits in shockingly well with the staff and with the players. And we already, just in our first talks, you could tell we had similar mindsets and everything.
Yeah, so immediate chemistry there. Like, as soon as you take it's the first time we had a team talk, when he announced to the players like a strategy, the players were attentive and ready to go. Like, I think he brings a lot to the team. I think he inspires the rest of the staff as well. I think the group of staff that we have is unmatched, honestly, personally.
I don't know if you guys can hear this. We got
Somebody's jamming
some
back
rock
there.
and roll going on behind us. There is a Dallas Stars game tonight. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Don't know who they're playing because it's hockey.
I've yet to
So-
see a hockey game. I need to do it. at some
Game
point.
Never seen a
6
hockey game?
against Nashville.
I was close to going a few times. I just never gone. I mean, that's another thing. Interesting thing is I feel like in esports, like a lot of people have like a sports background. Like I mean, Aero, you were playing what? You were playing football.
It was football and baseball. I stopped. Got a wrist injury. Kind of ended my career. But
Yeah, soccer for me, and then I messed up my ACL a bit. And that's when I started playing FIFA and got into gaming.
yeah,
Something we talked about with Hastro last week is there a future in like sports science medicine? Because you see
Esports
even esports athletes. Yeah, exactly. Esports medicine, because you see athletes now coming up with like wrist issues and elbow issues and stuff just from constantly clicking and moving and shifting and swiping and like all these things. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
it's super important. Like there is injuries that happen a lot in esports nowadays, and like it's not just people always like, oh, it's just a mental game and stuff, which is a big part of it, but people can get hurt with their hands, especially. It's a very rigorous. We're playing 8 hours a day. It's very dangerous, and you have to be careful, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you guys mentioned earlier when Daemon came on the team, like immediately felt like he was already a huge part of the staff. And the time I visited, which was like a week, 2 weeks ago or whatever, was his first day, I think, on board.
I think so, yeah.
And just from me looking like as an external person hanging around, like I couldn't tell you that he
He just
Just
started.
walked in, yeah.
It was crazy. It felt like he was already like completely integrated.
he's not afraid to give his opinion, and but he doesn't do it in a negative way. So it's really nice to be able to,
Yeah. Our whole staff is that way as well. It's good that people aren't afraid to just speak their mind. Like when we have our staff talks, we open up to each other and be like, hey, I think this would be better if you did this way and stuff like that, because you have to trust each other and work on things.
I mean, just like players have to adapt to the game, coaches have to adapt styles based on everything that's going on. So it's nice to have a staff like we do, where we can be very open with each other, very honest. If something's going wrong or not going well, we can be like, hey, this is an issue. Let's figure out how to fix it. And we don't have to step on eggshells or anything like that. We can be very direct. It's very nice.
Because they're all people first and pro gamers second. Remember that, internet.
People.
What's the hardest part of your guys' jobs?
Hardest part of the job?
Dealing with Matt.
Yeah, hate that guy.
I mean, so I had an interesting discussion when I was working on Team USA. I had a discussion with a gentleman who used to work with the Olympic volleyball team, and we were kind of discussing the idea of what it's like coaching at the highest level of whatever field you're in. And he mentioned the idea that a lot of head coaching ends up being more about managing personalities than it does about managing, strategy and all that kind of stuff. Because when it comes to the game, when it comes to strategy, it's very direct. It's very straightforward. You can sit down and grind it out, and if you're analytical, it's very easy to look at the game and see where you can optimize and stuff. When it comes to personalities, people are very complicated. So one of the biggest and parts of my job is making sure that we correctly manage personalities for how the players work together, interact together, in game, out of game, when we're in review. It's all about keeping everyone focused and the mindset's right, and making sure the personalities mesh, especially in a culture like ours, where we have such a unique environment with, you have players from South Korea, you have players from France,
Right.
Players from Finland,
Different cultures,
Thailand.
different way of
It's
communicating.
very, very different. Even just, the idea of like looking someone in the eye when you talk to them means something for one person and means something totally different for someone else. So part of my job is managing that delicate balance of how people interact and work together. So I think that's probably like the biggest part of my job.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty similar for me as well, but it's mostly out of game stuff. It's definitely like managing all the different cultures and the personalities is huge. But I mean, also just making sure that everybody is having time to like kind of relax and not overstress themselves. Like burnout, making sure we manage that on a player side and a staff side. Like, putting like for myself, if I put too much on myself to do like during the day, and then I don't delegate some stuff to Clint to do or something like that, that's like something I need to be better at and work on, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure everybody is comfortable and able to do their job properly, because you never want to get too overwhelmed, because then that can cause issues and whatnot. And personality is the hardest part, making sure people feel at home, and then make them feel just happy and able to play the game. So yeah.
You also serve as their travel agent currently, don't you?
Yeah. When are we going to get one of those? I think I need. What's the salary for a travel agent? Can I get that too?
It's probably up there. I think our producer Mike knows a young lady. Correct? You know somebody for us that can help us out potentially.
Yeah. We need one of those.
We'll work it out. We'll get the contract
me and
going.
Graham are doing that. Well,
but when these guys want to go home, like they need that mental break.
Yeah.
The team is flexible and will allow them to kind of shoot back.
Yeah. I guess to speak of that, and then it's with Mickey. For instance, he wanted to go to his festival.
Yeah. So there's a big festival in Thailand that's kind of, it's equated to like Christmas in America.
Okay.
And just the time frame, it's in April, which for us, the season's already going, everything's, and he hasn't been able to go the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And so he asked, he was like, hey, can I go and be with my family during this time? I haven't been able to. It's a very big deal for us.
Yep.
And so, it's like, all right, well, that's part of the reason why we have subs. And so that, while they are always active with us and always watching scrims, and so they're playing in scrims and they're talking and they're doing review, everything, they're always with us. Part of the reason we have subs is so that if there's something like that, big cultural thing where it would mean like a lot to them to take 2 weeks and go back home, and we want to be able to accommodate that.
If you need a personal day. Yeah.
That's huge. Speaking of that, I need to go to Scotland sometime. So
do you?
I actually haven't been home in
It's been a while.
Maybe 4 or 5 years.
Is there Overwatch in Scotland?
I don't know, but apparently my mom, she has Facebook, and she basically steals all my photos and finds like stuff off YouTube and clips it all and posts it on her Facebook.
I need those.
Yeah,
I need those for the TazMom folder.
You
meme
go
vault.
find the mom of TazMom's Facebook.
You could probably
TazMom's mom.
You could probably find her. I mean, she's kind of quiet on all that stuff, but she's definitely been creeping on me because I'm not always I'm not very good at always communicating what I'm doing and stuff. And I just told her, I was like, yeah, I'm going to Texas this week. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. But she posts all that stuff back home. And I'm the oldest out of all the cousins. So I'm like the one they all look up to and stuff. And apparently I'm famous there. But I'm like, I'm just.
Look at you.
It's weird. But
you making it.
No, but it's sad because I don't really get to connect with them as much because of just the job. And like, if I was to go back, it'd have to be like a 2-week thing for me. There's so many people to meet and see again. And it's like, that's part of the job that kind of sucks is you can't, for me specifically, taking 2 weeks off, even in postseason and off-season stuff. Like
it's tough.
It's not something that you can do. Like your phone is constantly on, and you guys know it. I mean, this guy's always on his 100%. Phone doing this thing. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to
you get notifications every 4 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I don't think I need a girlfriend because they're like, oh, go always get off your phone.
Like you getting dings, the little Twitter sound effect dings.
That's why
like
I got the watch because it actually helps. You're less rude. You just kind of
is
check
it okay? No.
You don't think so?
This is a theory I have.
We're talking Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I think it's less rude to look at your phone because it's obvious that there's like a notification. But when you look at your wrist, it's like you're checking the time because you're like bored or you're like wanting to get out.
Can be. But I think if the person already knows that you're using it as a work thing.
But I don't know that.
But what's the difference then?
Well, I guess so.
It's a cultural thing, right?
That's like true. That's
to your point.
So I have a similar thing with the AirPods. Like everybody hates on the AirPods now.
I don't like them.
Like you're flexing or something. So if you're on the phone with your AirPods, you look either crazy or you look like you're showing off. So I actually hold my phone like it's almost like it's on speaker, even though it's really not. And I'm talking through here, but it's just kind of like that thing to let people know, hey, I'm on the phone.
Okay,
talk to me.
I have a conspiracy on that. The AirPods.
Yeah.
You guys all seen Kingsman, right?
Yeah.
I have not. I know about it.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
it's like the watered down James Bond.
It's pretty good.
Over the top James Bond.
It's worth a watch. But anyways, and that basically it's like there's like a kind of controlling. I don't know what it is. Is that cell phone? What was it? What was it?
I remember which one it was. Not the weed one.
No,
it was all like
that was the second one. But the first one was just like some sort of like chip and like it controlled them, and then their heads blew off or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, but I'm thinking like AirPods are those things.
Mind control AirPods?
Yeah, like mind control. Yeah, so it might happen.
So that's because you don't have a pair, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So Jay, you mentioned this. This is completely unrelated to esports. But when you talk on your phone, you do this where you hold the phone like sideways to your face and talk to it like it's on speakerphone. Why is that? Why do that when you can just do that and it's?
Because you got an AirPod in your ear.
I think it's because the mic is assumed that it's on the bottom, even though it's not always on all the phones. So you feel like you're talking directly into it, just like I'm talking into this mic right now. I'm pointing my mouth directly at the hole.
Not at the side like this.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So this is talking to the side of your phone, where this is talking to.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I always thought it was weird when people talk like this.
You guys are big speakerphone users or no?
I am at home.
I like to feel important when I talk, and I want you to know that I'm important. So, I'm going to put that sucker on.
I have news for you. It's
I'm a big deal. I don't know.
Who talks on the phone anymore anyway?
I always do.
Actually,
it.
I know
Yeah.
that. I text.
I okay. So for me, I understand. I really genuinely dislike emails. I mean, I understand the reason for them. Like, I get it. It's more documented and whatnot. But for me, I do talk a lot in general. I know this. It's fine. It's good that I'm on podcast, right? That's a good point. But texting and stuff sometimes doesn't get like immediate responses. And when I need someone quickly, it's like I give them a call. And if they're not ready, they're not able to talk. Like Hairston, for instance, he and I always, I'll just give him a call. And most of the time we try and just do updates, like daily updates. He wants me to call and be like, hey, this is going on. Nothing crazy. Just checking in. And like, I just like being more on a personable level. Like, I can't wait to be in Dallas and just be knocking on your doors and knowing you guys in person.
Oh gosh, you just
Can't
want to
wait.
come over like, hey,
Yeah.
just get my email.
No, but the
You
thing is, you won't
respond?
have the email because I don't
going
know.
on?
For me, I just like being personable. Obviously, I still work on emails, but for me, it makes me feel that the person's listening and it's not just like, oh, yeah.
So here's the counter thing. I think this is the root of the texting versus the calling thing. Okay, it's that if I'm texting, it's on my own time, and I get to feel like my time is the most important thing to me. Whereas if you call me, it's you are assuming your time is more valuable than my time.
Yeah. But to be
so-
fair, another thing, I normally text saying, "Are you able for a chat?" Like with you, I will at least say, and if not, it's all good.
Very rarely does Matt just like cold call. He usually prefaces it with a message or something.
If somebody calls me, I assume it's important, and when it's at the moment it's not important, like, hey, what are you up to? I'm like, are you serious, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't call you guys too much, but that's the
this
thing.
was not call worthy.
Yeah, well,
this should have been a text.
maybe I just like chatting with you, man.
Oh
Like,
man, call me more.
Okay.
Do you guys text the players, or is it pretty much Discord communication?
Discord mostly, but I mean, it's players Discords. They sometimes don't pay attention.
So then you have to text him, right?
Well, it's also if it's super important information, we normally like discuss it after like a meeting just to make sure they know.
What's the tier of communication? Like lowest is like a Discord message in like the community group chat.
Yeah.
Then it's like a DM.
DM on the
and
Discord.
then it's like a text. And then it's like a
Knocking
Discord
on their
call, and then it's like a real call.
Yeah, I mean, we never do real calls for us for the players, but it'll be the serious one would be I'm knocking on their door if they haven't responded. And the more serious thing, if their door's locked, I'll go to the apartment complex and tell them to give me a key, or I'll have Clinton pass it down.
That sounds 100% legal.
That's I mean, we pay
They
for
pay for their apartment.
yeah, it's fine. No, but it's never gotten to that point. Most of the guys are pretty on point. It's normally I have to sometimes at them on Discord to make sure they see it because they have a lot of these other Discord channels. I tell them to always like if I see it on the Discord list, I'm like, your Fuel channel is on the top of that list to make sure you're paying attention. So, I mean, I'm not trying to bug them. It's just important stuff. So,
It's your job.
yeah.
This is a job. At the end of the day, all of this that we are all doing here in esports, us on the mics, the guys behind the cameras, the players on stage, this is all just a job really at the end of the day.
Yep.
And people forget about that sometimes that we're here to just have a good time. We're here to do well and make money because we're a business and perform.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing whenever I go to like, for instance, like a barbershop or something, get my haircut and people are always like, oh, how can my kid plays video games? You know, I'm sure we've all gotten that. It's like, oh, how can he get involved? I'm like, well, firstly, he has to be incredibly talented and most of the time
top
like,
1%.
and then like, oh
talent,
yeah, he's pretty good. You know, they're always like, and it's great. It's good to see there's like some passion on it. But I'm like, but at the same time, there's so many jobs in esports. Like there's so many things. Like from like you said, from like working cameras. Shout out to Kang, you beautiful man.
Shout out cameraman Kang.
Yeah, Corey number 2, Corey 2.0, Corey 2.0. Just because he's here and he's
2.0.
yeah.
So he's the new innovative version.
Could we argue that Corey is Kang 2.0?
We could.
So Corey makes
that's
the wonderful On the Watch
I wanna
series.
see-
He's editing the On the Watch series.
I want
right
to
now.
see. I want to see a Corey Kang podcast.
A Corey Kang. That would just be.
There's a lot of
I don't
stories
know.
with those guys. Some that may not be able
Well,
to be
first of all, it'd be rated R.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
After dark.
we had zero.
It needs to be like a
sponsorships behind
special, like not a regular podcast. It needs to be an after dark,
it. Like a
special.
Christmas, Thanksgiving special.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. That sounds like a good idea. Kang's over here smiling.
It works.
Quick take on this, producer. How much will you hate me if I really need to go to the bathroom?
Oh, you're just popping out? You
Yeah,
just
I
wanna
have
leave on us?
to. I have to dip out.
This is our general manager, right?
Hey, man, the sport went through me even though I barely drank it. I gotta go.
Take your baby bladder.
All right, making a
Take
cut?
your baby bladder.
Yeah.
Worse than our kids.
Cut.
We just keep going. We're not stopping for you, man.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'll go. I'm
Yeah.
Get out of here.
We got Coach here. I want to talk. I'd be doing the fans a disservice if we didn't talk about what happened this weekend, man. It was not a good week. I think the fans just really want to know, like, what were the missteps in the game? Like, you had a plan. I assume it wasn't executed to the best of its ability. There were some bright spots, though. So what did you see
Definitely some
from
bright
your
spots.
perspective?
Well, we'll kind of start with the practice week in general. It was a interesting week for us. I think realistically, just based on match timings and match strength, probably one of the toughest weeks of our season. Not necessarily because both. Obviously, Vancouver's the best team right now, but also just with the timing because we had to play last match on Sunday, first match on Thursday. And then going into a whole bunch of travel stuff coming up and everything just from staff to players. There was just a lot going on.
Short week,
which with a short time span is kind of frustrating. But we worked really hard during the week to try and prep and make sure we were good to go. And Vancouver is a really, really tough team. I think one of the biggest things about them, so you can kind of understand the style, is Vancouver does a lot of things that in theory should be punished. And in this meta right now, when someone overextends or makes some kind of really risky play, it's very easy to punish. But Vancouver's this team where they do that all the time, and teams are rarely able to ever actually punish them.
is it like a bait? Is that part of their strategy? Because that's what it seemed like. Is they would kind of leave a player out there, let you waste all of your cooldowns, pull that person back, heal them up real fast, and then now we're rolling on you.
Sure, yeah, and that's very possible. It looked like there definitely are a lot of bait plays in their style. One of the interesting things about Vancouver is because this meta has been around technically for so long. Even it went through the off season, like right after season 1 ended, this meta started, and so Vancouver was playing that in their region all the way through the off season. And so when Overwatch League teams came in and had to redo their rosters and everything, and had tried to get caught up, Vancouver was already
because this is the
ahead.
runaway team, right? This is the Korea season 2 Contenders champions. So yeah,
they went undefeated in that Contenders, and then
they're no joke.
Continued through multiple tournaments after that, just some off ones, and then right into Overwatch League, the second season. So these guys are very, very tough, and it's all about teamwork and communication and everyone being on the same page. If you can be on the same page without having to say things, it makes things a lot easier for your team. And I think Vancouver has that. Yeah, I think they're the team that has that the most right now. And so when you're facing them and you see a lot of this stuff where it's either bait plays or they focus a specific person really hard, like you could tell in our match for them, they focus Zach really hard, which is something that other teams aren't necessarily doing. And so it's up to us to adapt on the fly and be ready to go. So I think while the opponents were tough, we definitely didn't really play up to what we felt like we could do. We definitely feel like we underperformed on stage. And that, that happens. And so like our goal is like learn from it, grow from it, adapt, and we go to the next week with lots of stuff we can improve on and work on.
Have you guys had a chance to look at the tape yet?
Yeah. We've already watched through a bunch of it and talked about it, and we've got a bunch planned for whenever we get rolling here, get practicing. So we've got a lot planned to kind of go over and clean up. And the Seoul match was definitely an interesting one. I think the first 2 maps we weren't necessarily our greatest performance, and then the third and fourth map were ones that we actually had really good attack phases, really good time banks, and then just couldn't really close it out in the end. I think actually the fourth map we set the world record pace for attack on Gibraltar. So it's like, even though we couldn't close out the map, it's like it's a positive, something that when we're playing up to what we feel like is our potential, we're one of the best. It's just a matter of being consistent through all that.
There was definitely glimmers of excellence in those matches, especially in Seoul. And it's like as long as we replicate that and see where we can improve on that, it's like a big thing about our team this year specifically, I think the way we bounced back after hard weeks has shown. Like, when we had that first week against Shock and we got, we lost that match, we had a huge bounce back against Seoul. And I think you'll see it again this week. So,
I think one of the things that I noticed is every loss that we've had has been like an 0-4. So it's like when we lose hard. Luckily, we haven't done that very much. But why do you think that is?
You could say there's a few reasons for it. It's kind of hard to pinpoint the exact one. I mean, if I felt like I solved that answer, I don't think we'd keep having scores. So, you could point it to maybe like on stage nerves or that kind of thing. When things kind of go downhill, maybe we need to work on our communication and leadership, kind of pick each other back up. One of the things that you see with lots of teams, not just ours, but with most esports teams, a lot of these guys haven't played in like a competitive setting, like a competitive attritional sport. So it's learning what it means to be competitive on match day and what the differences are between like match day and practice. The idea of every practice is like a match is nice in theory, but it doesn't work out that way. There's always a lot that you have to do differently on match day, just in terms of your energy and how you do stuff and your confidence and everything. So I think a lot of players are still learning that. Not just our team, with a lot of teams.
And I don't think people know how limited your communication is with the team once the game actually starts. You only get to kind of get their heads refocused at halftime, and by that time you could be in the hole.
We get like it's like 30 seconds between maps, between map 1 and 2 and between map 3 and 4. But we do have a halftime. It's like,
and that's just through comms.
Just through comms. I don't get to see him. I just get to talk to him and then
that's where the importance of people like AKM, who stepped up and been kind of a leader of the team this year, is keeping everyone's mind right and keeping them fired up. I think he's done a tremendous job with that.
I mean, one of the things that kind of sucks about Overwatch in regards to scoring is you might get 0-4 on a game day, but that doesn't mean it was a
it doesn't tell the whole story.
It doesn't mean it was in a close match.
I mean, the Seoul match, for instance, like the first 2 maps were pretty rough for us, but the next 2 is like we're easily winnable, and like if we win that 3rd map, we could potentially take the whole series and do a reverse sweep. It's all about momentum. That's a huge
Overwatch
thing.
Is very, very momentum based. Not even like in map, and then also between maps too.
Map to map specifically.
In map, with just how the ult economy works, when you're down, like it's an uphill battle for the next 2 to 3 fights, and then going into the next map, you have to try to reset, and the map a lot of times the map is a completely new strategy, or you have to do the same thing and try to beat them at what you just lost at, and so it can be tough sometimes.
Is there a better way to score in regards to Overwatch that would
Like a better system?
than just complete?
To be honest, I don't think so. Overwatch has been through a lot of iterations. And
I always liked best of 5s just because
you're talking about for like the whole season.
Just like you're talking about like the game modes, and like how, like instead of like up to 4,
even if it's just counting if you like took 2 out of the 3 control points, or if you got the 5 on payload and they got a 4, if it's balanced, because if you did 5 and 4 and then the next map for payload somebody did 1 and you got 3, like
I know that there was potential there, but I think with just how the maps are function and the different game modes, and I think treating each map in isolation is the best way to do it.
I would say for me personally, like seeing like the game modes are so different. I feel like they're very different, and they you go from King of the Hill or Control to 2CP, and the difference in that is it's very different. Like you have one that's very micro orientated, and the next one's like more macro, which is it's that's the play styles are so different. The comps can be way different. Like
how your position is different,
and it switches so crazily, which I think from a viewer's perspective, it also kind of gets a bit confusing. It's like, oh, now they're playing all these like kind of bunker things, and then the next thing they're playing all these like dive-y heroes and whatnot. So I would say maybe being more consistent on maybe like 1 or 2 game modes where you'd have 2 of like a hybrid or something and 2 of control, maybe different, but I don't know how it actually end up being, but maybe more consistent overall.
So some of the things that the fans have cried for is The end of goats, putting goats to sleep. Oh,
Sorry,
they're
we're
getting
gonna get a
louder.
full
I'm just going to
fan
talk
now
louder. I don't
behind
even
us.
care. No, fans are clearly showing their frustration with the goats meta. Players as well are sounding off on Twitter. One of the things Jeff Kaplan went on record, or maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm making this up, but potentially
It's on the internet. You're talking
it's
about
on the internet. It's
true
real. A 2-2-2 setup lock-in where you have to pick two damage characters, 2 tanks, 2 supports. Is that something that you would like to see?
So there's a lot behind that. All right, I'll try to keep it simple. So in terms of the way that the game's structured right now, in theory, the 2-2-2 fixes a lot of the current issues, but the issues aren't otherwise easily fixed because right now you have a lot of healing, and the characters that are damage prevention or like support healing characters, it's kind of imbalanced with how much damage they do compared to how much like utility they provide. And so it's really hard to balance that without changing a lot of the core mechanics of the game. So that's kind of how the 3-3 meta came to be with the introduction of Brigitte specifically, because she provides so much utility, but also so much healing and like damage alone without the combination of the 3 supports, she's not very good. But when you have 2 other supports, she's the best character in the game. So hard locking 2-2-2 would mean that balance changes would have to happen because a character like Brigitte would become almost unusable. But
Remember, guys, we used to have another class that wasn't just 2-2-2. There's used to be a support class that doesn't exist, or what was it?
Defense
Class that doesn't
Bastion was
exist
a
anymore.
defense character.
There used to be multi. What's it? Unlimited heroes.
Yeah.
That was a thing for a long time. It was like 3 Winstons or double Winston, double
whole-
Tracer.
Remember when Mercy could 5-res?
yeah,
Oh, jeez.
and it was all
Can you imagine?
the hide and seek
hide
game.
and seek?
Yeah, just wait for everyone to die. And
Insta res.
whole team back.
Re-res all your tanks.
I can't even imagine that existed.
I
during
mean,
the
6
Overwatch League.
divas on Hanamura's second point was always funny to watch when you're trying to defend. You guys should go back to that. It was actually the old MV squad would do that a lot, and they would just send in 1 diva at a time, and that's when she was like super tanky and not like damaged.
Big health pool,
Yeah.
and then
huge matrix.
immunity frames while she's getting demacked.
Yep.
And then she has a secondary health pool, and then you just send your next
One
diva
in, so one at a
You just
time.
stall.
And
Oh, God,
stall.
the stall comp
I'm
on
pretty
that?
sure MV would stall you out for like 4 or 5 minutes easy. It's stupid.
Bastion had his own shield in beta,
Yep.
so
But
I'm
he
starting a
couldn't turn all the way
Kickstarter.
around.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah,
He couldn't turn all the way around. So the shield removal was a buff, Jay,
yeah.
because he couldn't turn.
360.
And you're still
Okay.
flat.
Yeah, I was like that, man. Why you gonna call me out, man? We're gonna get to your SR in a little bit. We're gonna talk about that right now.
Is that part of the fan rapid fire?
Yeah, that's
questions?
gonna be rapid fire.
Oh,
ready.
Quickly before that, let's talk Homestand weekend. We got the game
Homestand,
this weekend.
yeah.
It's gonna
Yes.
be huge versus the Houston Outlaws. Battle for Texas. The only time you guys will play them outside of playoff contention. So, how are you guys feeling going into that? We'll start with Taz.
All right, get out of here, Aaron.
Sorry,
He's closer.
moment.
I'm
He's
jumping
closer.
again. I'm jumping.
I mean, pretty confident and pretty excited, honestly. Like every time we play Houston, there's always the battle for Texas, and they've had the upper edge before in last season, but I think it's a whole different squad we have, and I don't think they've changed too much, and I think we have this confidence now that when we do play them, especially in this.
Wow.
Sounded like a fire
Sound
drill.
check's going on behind us.
Check. No, but yeah, really confident. I mean, we're in our home city. We're playing in front of our home crowd. Like, it's gonna be nuts. Like, I was talking to Oji the other day, and he was like, "Wait, 5,000 people or something?" And he's like, "I can't imagine." He always says that. He's like, "I mean, yeah, you know how you always say you're a rock star, superstar. This is you.
Now's the time,
Like,
right?
I mean, Blizzard Arena is great, and I love the stage there, but that's only maximum, I think, like 850. I thought it was only like 5.
I don't think.
I think I can maximum like 800. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
I think
the
they
layout-
only usually
the
lay out
Yeah.
for 5. So we're literally going to be like
Exactly.
10 times the size.
Yeah.
10 times the
Shoot.
size of Blizzard Arena.
I mean, that's one of the biggest events I will even attend. It's definitely the biggest in Overwatch, but even when I was in Apex, I think I was like 1,000 or something people, or maybe 2,000 fans there, and that was nuts. So 5,000 is going to be crazy. I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are. I know Justin.
I'm a little
here.
giddy. So we're on the promotion and
Yeah,
planning side of it.
Shout out
So
to you guys, man.
We
You
have
guys-
butterflies and nerves for a very different reason. We want everything to go smooth. We want everyone to have a good time.
We
so-
just have to win, so that's another thing.
yeah,
for us,
and you guys just have to win.
Yeah,
so.
there's a lot of pressure, I'm sure, but at the same
just
time,
win.
it's a good pressure though. I think it's. I mean, we're all working hard on it, and really excited. I mean, we obviously have Valiant first, which is still no pushover. I think
Which is
they've been
technically the first home game. We're touting this weekend as the first home game, so that's literally our first home game ever in esports, not just
Esports
for
history.
Overwatch,
Insane.
because no teams in esports have been city-based, and this is the first time it's happening. It's the first time a city-based esports team is having a game in its home city.
History.
That's cool.
That's part
crazy.
of history is us and you guys. So I'm excited. Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, Houston, they like on social. I know Jay wants to take the gloves off and mess with them a bit.
Can't wait.
But I know they always keep going. They have like a little montage, like highlights against Fuel for it. And I'm like,
We may have seen that come across
It's
social.
like,
We may have had a
it's
few
like-
chuckles
it's-
in the
it's like, come on,
in the
like,
Discord.
all right, that's fine. They can do all that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm pretty confident. I think we'll
Coach,
show
what about
some
you,
up.
man?
Oh, I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel great. I mean, we've been scouting these teams for a while. We've been keeping track of them. We're pretty confident we know what they're going to play. And based on their records right now, feels good.
That's a
Feels good.
We'll just say
look on your face.
it's a feels
He hit
good.
him with the
Yeah.
mafioso look, that little nod. I told you about it.
One of the cool storylines that I don't think many fans probably don't know is before Overwatch League, the team that I coached was called FNRGFE, and their core became the Houston Outlaws.
Interesting.
And then I came to coach what was, Envy into Fuel, which we FNRGFE and Envy face each other in the original like playoffs before. And
I don't even recall
FNRGFE got kind of stomped, but
I mean, that's where we met. That's where me and Aero met. Actually, it was at the Hilton in Glendale, and now we're living it out there. So when we chatted, we had a good chat at the bar that night, and whenever we were looking at new coaches, that was one of the main people. I was like, hey, let's look at Aero. I think he's proven himself with Contenders and Fusion Uni, and clearly he's been doing great for us. So
Good choice.
I want to add that when people ask about getting jobs in esports, I would say that in my experience, like 80% of jobs you get happen with a impromptu or unexpected interview at a bar.
yeah.
example.
Networking
It's
huge.
relationship
I mean,
building. It really is.
me and Justin, for
proximity.
instance, we met at BlizzCon. It wasn't last year; it was the year before, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and it was basically it was another meeting, and you just kind of tagged along, and then Mike found out what you did, and was like, "All right, I want to hire this guy and get him on board." And it's like, yeah, it definitely happens that way, and a lot of the
Actually,
networking-
that's how we met.
I met Justin at a Twitch meetup.
Yeah.
Which was at a bar, but that was like 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like sending out business cards, like sending emails, whatnot, are good and all. I get that. If you're really trying to network, like, trust me, just go. It doesn't need to be a bar. It just needs to be a social place
social
where
experience.
you are you and they're themselves, and you're just people talking, and then you can see the chemistry building and understand it's not just like a business thing. Because if you go to business, it just seems like you're wanting too much off the bat. And,
Well, I think one of the biggest things about esports is that there's so many people trailblazing. We're going through uncharted territory. So that structure for how you find employees or your
the Wild
next
West right
coworkers,
now. Yeah.
it's the structure's not necessarily there like it is in a traditional.
it's not always like a
9
degree
to 5.
thing, or
So it's a lot of times the best coworkers are just going to happen off of.
One piece of advice I always give to people who are trying to work on the more business side of things is become that super fan of whatever org you want to work for, and make sure you're liking, engaging with all their content, supporting their events. Like, you should be that guy when they think about the super fan, you always come to their minds. And then that one day when something opens up and it's an entry level position, they're going to take a chance on you versus somebody who just comes in with a cold resume.
yeah. I mean, they
9
have,
times out of 10.
they are then in like you're in their head. Like when if I mean I know people off a hand that if
So
we were
share and
trying
like
to
this
hire-
video.
Yeah, like it,
Leave a comment.
subscribe, and you're hired.
There you go.
Mike's gonna be like, who did we hire again? What's his name? Alwyn or whatever.
Alwyn.
Yeah, my boy.
Lightning McQueen
Yeah.
blew a
Yeah.
3-lap lead. Before we get out of here, guys, we got to hit you with some rapid fire questions. These
All right.
come straight from fans. You guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is the lightning round. First one's for TazMo. Hey, bro, can I see your quick scope sniper montage, bro?
Was
Yes
that,
or no?
Who was
this
it?
Is yes, this is rapid fire.
No,
All right, that's a no.
they're dead.
Chicken fried steak or chicken fried chicken?
Sorry, though, both of us.
Yes.
Chicken.
Really?
Okay.
Steak has a specific way.
Weirdest celebration you've seen? I assume they're referring to the Overwatch League. Like
celebration
of a win. Like somebody like
if it's not Overwatch League, it would have to be. It would still be Overwatch. So this is okay, right?
Sure.
So it was in Apex, and it was actually Runaway, and it was Runner. He was basically the founder of Runaway, and he was one of the players at the time. He celebrated so hard he smacked his head off of like the top of
jumped and
the
cheered.
booth, and the whole thing like fell down. I mean, no one was hurt, but it was just hilarious.
Jeez.
So that was a big one.
He's like trying to celebrate with his team, but holding his panel up like
that or Mickey just being Mickey at like MLG Vegas, just like shaking people and like messing with people like the whole time. He is always a goofball. So
pizza with ranch? Yes or no?
yes,
Aero says no on that one.
it's delicious.
While we're on the subject, ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch.
It depends on the day. Depends on. There's so many factors into this one.
We don't got enough time for that. Non-field player who surprised you the most this season?
Surprised the most.
Yep.
I'm assuming in a good way.
Yeah.
Yes. Like with their performance being exceptional.
Exceptional.
We'll stay
performance.
positive.
I'm going to give Shu from the Guangzhou Charge.
Good pick.
Very good performances.
I don't know, man. I follow a lot. I'm trying to think of names. I don't know.
Said non-fuel player. Trill.
Non-fuel.
Yep.
Oh, Trill? Yeah.
Okay.
Trill 300
Is
peg.
it
Overwatch.
specific to Overwatch League?
Yeah,
or just Overwatch?
That works.
Or just in general.
Count it.
Yeah. Go with that.
Most coachable player. I assume this is for you, Coach. This is your time to shout out one player.
On
You love them all, but who's the guy who's just always so nice and sweet and does whatever he
Responds well
says?
to coaching.
He shows up early and stays late.
We're going to go with Note.
Note. Good pick. Yeah, pick the new guy.
The new guy.
Give him some love.
We
I
haven't
like
seen
it.
enough of him, so
That's a safe
far
play.
so good. He's got his
Very
honeymoon
smart.
period.
Yeah. Texas barbecue or Korean barbecue? This question's awesome, and I want to hear Justin's response. Oh, I think I know.
I don't know, man. They're both good, but I've never been a major fan of barbecue sauce specifically, so that's kind of a weird one for me. But I don't know. I can't choose. They're both good. They're so different. You can't compare.
Last question. What does burn blue specifically mean to you in 3 words?
3.
3 to,
That's
3
all
to
you
10
get.
words.
Passion.
Aggression.
Momentum.
We got to get out of here. The band is playing us off. The Stars are about to go to Game 6 tonight. Wish them some luck. We wish our lovely neighbors good luck in their playoff game. You can catch these guys this weekend at Homestand. Dallas is going to be huge, man. A sold-out event. 5,000 screaming fans. It's going to be a great time.
That's 5,000 a day. So actually, it's 4,500 technically. So
Yeah.
9,000 fans over the weekend. Tons of stuff going on. There's not just the matches. We're gonna have a lot of cool, fun stuff to do around the
It's gonna be a
concourse.
festival.
Yeah, it's basically a festival. 2-day festival out in Allen, Texas, at the Allen Event Center. We have an after party.
Hey.
Even if you're not going to Homestand weekend,
Ooh.
we've got a official after party for Homestand weekend, sponsored by GameStop, happening Sunday night at the Courtyard Marriott right next door. We have tickets available for that. You can check our Twitter. You can find that. Tickets via Fivo. Really have an awesome, fun time in there, too.
It's like Coachella, but better.
Yes.
But better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you to our guests. If this is your first time listening, it would mean the world to us if you would leave a comment not Spotify, because you can't leave comments on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all of those wonderful places where you can watch the podcast. Leave us a comment below as well.
Yeah.
Let us know who you want to see next. Until next time, this has been Q Up.